Hello, everybody, and welcome to Off the Island podcast, where we talk NHL hockey, but mostly Islanders hockey. Why Off the Island? We're all diehard Islander fans, originally from the island, but we don't live there anymore. Jack and I live in California, and Phil lives in Toronto, and because of that, he thinks he knows more about hockey than everybody else. I get that right, Phil?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good. Okay. I wanted to make sure. Listen, we got a lot to cover. Last time we recorded, I feel like the minute we stopped the podcast, the NHL world turned upside down. There were 84 trades. We had the draft. We had free agency. We had offer sheets. It's been a fun couple of weeks. The latest news, of course, Anaheim, no surprise, does match the Leo Carlsson contract offer from Philadelphia. I feel like it was a lose-lose situation for Anaheim. They kind of had to match, but now their contract structure for their entire team is screwed.
I actually didn't know that they matched, but that's some pretty good news for us, I think.
Yeah, probably. I think, Phil.
Good news for us. How? In that Leo Carlsson won't be a Flyer? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, no,
so. But the implications of what this offer sheet means for Schaefer, though, are going to be interesting, because if Schaefer's agent is worth 2 cents, he is going to be telling the Islanders next summer that he wants a deal at least as large as Leo Carlsson. But would he not?
Well, it all depends. I mean, I think hockey has always been kind of an interesting game. I mean, we'll talk a lot about different. Hockey's always been interesting because I feel like in a lot of other sports there are comparables. And while there comparables certainly exist in the NHL, some teams just don't seem to care. Some teams are like, a player's agent will go, well, this guy scored 27 goals and he gets $7.5 million, so I want that. And then you've got the Florida, you got Florida, you've got Carolina, you've got other teams going, well, cool. Sorry, that's not us. That's not what we do. And hockey has always kind of been that way. It's weird. I mean, our best players aren't always our highest paid players. Could Schaefer go in? Would I even be mad if Schaefer came in and said I won $18 million? No. If he does what he did his first season and builds on that, he's worth every penny. So is McDavid. That doesn't mean he will, though. I mean, it wouldn't shock me at all if Schaefer came in and said, I want 4 years times 14, and then we'll talk in 4 years and see where we're at. That wouldn't shock me either. And we'll see. I'm not concerned about it. The cap is going up. We've got plenty of cap space. Obviously, we're planning for that. So I'm not concerned about it. For Anaheim, though, I think this is a huge win for most of the teams in the West, because I thought the Anaheim Ducks were going to give everybody a lot of trouble. And now I look at it and go, they are in cap hell. I mean, the reports are that Gauthier wants, $15 million?
Well, I don't know if he's going to get 15. He doesn't have the same leverage because he can't get an offer sheet and he's not arbitration eligible. Now, he could just say, I'm taking a 1-year deal, and then we could do it again next summer when I am arbitration eligible and when I can get an offer sheet. But you just made a point that's interesting, in that it used to be, for the most part, like, all right, you're going to take your 7 or 8 year deal on a long-term deal, and we're going to eat up as many years as we possibly can. We'll own all your RFA years. We're going to own as many UFA years as we can. And now with Carlsson, this kind of changes the game a little bit, because I don't think the Ducks would have only wanted to have 5 years. That means he's going to be an unrestricted free agent when he's 26 or 27 years old, which is hardly ideal for them. In a Schaefer situation, like, the contract you don't want to give him is 4 years. You either want to give him 3, right, which walks him just to the end, restricted free agency, or you want to give him something that's going to be the max, which is going to be 7 years, right? But
I think four takes him. He gets his
because it's going to be 4. It's going to be 4 on top of the 3.
Oh, so that would take him right to UFA.
That would take him right to UFA as a 24-year-old or something like that, which would just be
insane.
Ridiculously young. Yeah, I mean, I think in an ideal world, assuming he does what he did last year, this year, you're probably sitting down with him and talking about a 7-year extension, and it's probably going to be somewhere around 18 million, I would assume.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he's certainly in that conversation. I think the NHL teams, and Jack, I want to get your take on this. We know the NFL, and I feel like the NHL teams with the Leo Carlsson deal are going to be in the danger of paying their quarterback, quote unquote, top money simply because he plays quarterback and not because he's actually elite. And I feel like if you're going to pay elite money to somebody, they better be elite. And while Jack and I, you and I argued a little bit on Twitter, not really argue, but Leo Carlsson is a hell of a player, and he is a number one center in the NHL. I don't believe he's an elite center, and in $18 million, I think the Anaheim Ducks are in a lot of trouble from their cap structure standpoint, because I just don't think he's that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think teams in the NHL get into their biggest problems when they are overpaying players that simply don't produce enough. If you're going to overpay anyone, let it be a Kaprizov, let it be a Carlsson. And you're right, Carlsson is not, I would say, at that elite tier yet, but he's well on his way. He's 21 years old. He just outscored Connor McDavid. Shout out Data Dom on this one, in his minutes in the playoffs in the first round. From what I've watched of this guy, he is going to be an elite player, and throwing 18 million at him, while it's not really ideal, it just goes back to, the cap's going up, and we use this as justification when it comes to players like Braden Shen, Andre Palat, and the Islanders are like, yeah, we're taking on 12 million, but the cap's going up. What happens to the cap going up when you give Leo Carlsson $18 million? The cap's going to keep jumping, and it's not ideal, but they really, if they let Leo Carlsson go, I mean, what are the odds you're going to find that player again, especially since you have a better team now? They're not going to finish in the bottom 5 probably. But I would have done this if I was the Islanders, just because, you wait generations to find like a number one center and a number one defenseman like Matthew Schaefer and Leo Carlsson. So, I mean,
I guess I don't think. I mean, I've seen a lot of Leo. I know you have. We're both on the West Coast. I don't think Leo's there. He's a
not yet.
Hell of a player. Okay,
he's coming though. He's coming.
Sure. Okay. Let me see when he gets there. Let me know.
Yeah. And to Jack's point, the bigger inefficiency isn't the 18 million that they're going to be paying Carlsson. It's the 18 million that they have tied up in players that are just not going to hold their own on the ice. You had Killorn, Vetrano, Kreider. I mean, Kreider's still good, but that 18 million versus Carlson's 18 million, I mean, it's a no-brainer. And they can figure out ways to peel layers of that cap off over the coming months, which they're going to need to in order to re-sign Gauthier.
Let's use that great segue, Phil, to talk about Anaheim's other issues now, because they do relate to the Islanders possibly. I know you mentioned it on Twitter, Phil, and then Steph actually kind of piggybacked on that a little bit. Should have given you credit, by the way. Anyway, no, Anaheim's going to have some cap issues. They just, I would say, with fear of another offer sheet looming, they overpaid Pavel Mintyukov, 7.4 times 5.
That's the stuff that kills teams, by the way.
100%. Yeah. Absolutely. I agree. Listen, I would rather pay, yes, if given a choice between overpaying, whoever it might be, that guy or Leo Carlsson.
Yeah, because Mintyukov is a lot more speculative at this point.
100%. And then obviously now Cutter Gauthier is looking at that contract that Leo just got. He goes, okay, where are my cookies? They have some contracts that they thought they were in cap heaven. They're like, okay, we're fine. We don't have to worry about it. These contracts they'll be gone by the time we have to worry about it. Well, they're not. And speculation is that they are willing to attach draft picks to get rid of Vetrano and Killorn. Thank you very much. If you're running the Islanders, you guys, are you interested in either of these players? What pick would you expect to get back?
Yeah, I mean, the idea that I had, and Steph also wrote it up, is if you can figure out some sort of cap swap with them, you would have to have money going out, because the Islanders don't have enough cap space to absorb any of these players in their entirety without something going out. So if you were going to say trade Duclair for Killorn and have the Ducks throw in a sweetener with that, then you also give yourself the opportunity at the deadline, because, and we could talk about this as we discuss the Islanders offseason, I don't think as constructed right now that they're going to be particularly good. But you also then on the back end of that can retain half on Killorn and trade him at the deadline for something else. And that's just another way that you could accumulate assets. I mean, it's an imperfect example, but think about what the San Jose Sharks were able to do with that defenseman that Detroit traded them. Someone help me out here. Wallman.
Oh my gosh.
Right, where they were able to pick up a second rounder to take on Jake Wallman, which I always thought was kind of bizarre because Wallman's a good player, but Yzerman felt compelled to do that. And then on the back end of that, and you're not going to get a first round pick at the trade deadline for Killorn, but they were able to get a first round pick for Wallman, and they ended up netting a first and a second in 2 separate transactions for that player. So thinking along those lines, if they're able to weaponize some of the remaining cap space that they have, also move a contract like Duclair, which is a cheaper contract than Killorn would be, albeit with an extra year, that's something that I think is definitely worth exploring. And people killed me for it, but I do think the idea has merit.
I personally love the idea. I mean, you get rid of 1 extra year. I mean, it doesn't make a difference anyway for the season. More veteran leadership, I think. We need more veteran.
You can never have enough of that. You can never have enough of that.
Yeah, forget about the speed, forget about skill. I want more veteran leadership, which, by the way, I am a free agent, guys, and I'm very veteran, so you could bring me in. Jack, do me a favor and footnote just on the side. Remember that the Stevie Yzerman Wallman thing, because that might come in later.
Okay.
What do you guys think of the draft, by the way?
I was shocked. I was shocked at our selection. Even on like the ESPN panel, they were talking about Belchins, I think is how you pronounce it. And I was just thinking they would definitely go with a forward or a right-handed defenseman, assessing some team needs. But, the prospects from last year's class in that draft class have really progressed pretty well. So when I saw the pick was a left-handed defenseman, my first instinct was, you've got to be kidding me. But then it was like, all right, let's relax for a second and, just collect some opinions on guys that are like really in touch with like prospects and the whole draft and their mocks. And they all backed up the selection. So, I mean, I guess I'm bullish on it, but we're not going to see the kid for a long time. And then obviously we didn't have any picks for really the next 3 rounds. And I got to admit, I was pretty checked out after we made that pick. That show was not my cup of tea, boys.
No, they have to get rid of the decentralized draft. It's a friggin' nightmare.
Brutal.
It is, and you and I were there last year.
Yeah,
because they had 3 picks and it was so exciting, and that was still terrible. It's like you got to bring the teams together. I will say I'm always for draft the best player available. I was also kind of surprised. I was like, wow, we got another left-handed defenseman. I think Gustafsson might actually be here sooner than people think. He's legit. I mean, I did a little digging, and I actually talked to Cam Robinson. I'm hoping we can get him on our show when the dust settles. But he was like, this guy's a home run. This guy's a friggin'. I mean, he's almost 6'5", over 200 pounds. He's got a reach like forget about it. And in terms of you just go, no, we're drafting the best player available. We're not going to draft for need. This guy might lock down your left side with Schaefer, just like, wow, for the next 12, 13 years. It's pretty sick. I'm kind of excited about that aspect. It does kind of mean something though, Phil, going forward, because we do have a logjam on the left side.
Yeah. Again, drafting for need is more of it's more like NFL talk. You don't know what the need is going to be by the time that these people are ready, just because most NHL first round picks, unless they're top 5, take 2 to 3 years at the bare minimum. And it's so dynamic, especially in a league where the salary cap is going up so much. So there's going to be a lot of player transactions that happen from between now and when this guy's ready. And let's say 2 to 3 years from now. Like I said, going into the draft, right? I'm not the expert. As long as it doesn't seem as if they're doing something that's absolutely wild, going crazy off the board, I'm going to trust that they're going to do a good job here. They didn't have that many draft picks to begin with. It ended up being a pretty uneventful night. They didn't trade up. They didn't trade back. They didn't trade back in any circumstance. So it was a pretty plain old Islander draft with no drama, no surprises, and hopefully the player ends up panning out for us.
Just want to tell you guys a quick story from last year's draft when Dave and I were there. I don't think I've ever said this on any podcast or anything, but I was there. Yeah, I was there. And, earlier that day, Noah Dobson gets traded. And when he was getting traded, I was hoping for like a top 6 forward in return, more than future assets for we see how hard it is to find premium right-handed defensemen. So after the Schaefer pick, I was pretty excited. And I don't know if you guys remember, but we were just waiting to see if we were going to make the trade up for Higgins. The second the Boston Bruins made the pick of James Higgins, I had like a mini crash out, went home. I was so pissed off. Yeah. I haven't been like paying attention to the drafts in so long. So when I knew Higgins was off the board, I was like, yep, we're fucked. We're going to get 2 bad picks. And I was like, let me get the hell out of here.
It is kind of funny how, I mean, obviously that trade was made with the assumption that we would use those picks to move up and get Higgins. And obviously that didn't work out. And the funny thing is that it's super early and none of us know. Right? So let's not even, right. We don't know. But right now, no GM would trade Victor Eklund and Aitchison for Higgins straight up. None. You could not find a GM that would do that. Higgins is not even going to be in Boston Bruins starting lineup this year. He's going to start in Providence.
You think so?
Did he not play for them at the end of the year?
He did. He wasn't overly. He wasn't. I mean, it's more of a waiver thing. He wasn't overly impressive, and they think he might need at least like a half a season of seasoning. And listen, he might turn out to be great, and we might be like, wow, I wish we got Higgins. Who the hell knows? Mm-hmm. But then again, in this new restricted free agent world with offer sheets and stuff,
Higgins could offer sheet him in 3 years. Yeah,
Higgins might be an Islander in 3 years. Who the hell knows? Right. But right this second, no GM is trading Victor Eklund and Aitchison for Higgins. So again,
that's true.
It's super early.
I still think Darche would.
You do think he would?
I think he would.
He might. I don't know.
And I don't even know if it would be the wrong call. I don't know. It's so
none of us know. Right. None of us know. We'll see. I mean, Aitchison and Eklund, obviously, they both look like players, but hey, they're 19 years old. We'll see how it goes up. So that was the draft. The one pick, there was one team I want to talk about because, we're talking about, we're going to bring it around to GMs. And I thought that Buffalo's draft was horrific. It was really funny because there were a couple of teams that I thought did so well in certain aspects of offseason and then just absolutely fumbled. And it was like, what are you like? They fumbled on the 1 yard line. Like, what are we doing? I'll use the NFL reference again. But Buffalo makes this brilliant trade where they get rid of Byram for a 4th overall, which is like, wow, what were you doing, Chicago? And then Chicago subsequently, gives them $12.5 million, which is even crazier. And then Buffalo goes off the board to just not even improve their team now.
Yeah, I was a little surprised.
For a team that finished 1st overall in their division and has aspirations of taking the next step, all they did was trade a good defenseman for a guy who's not going to be ready for 3 seasons, say. Who didn't
bring back Alex Tuck.
And didn't bring back Alex Tuck. And it's like, I'm like, wait, so you traded 2 really big parts of your team for a guy who won't be here for 2 or 3 years at minimum. And by the way, some scouts had Gustafsson around the same spot as the defenseman that Buffalo ended up. It was just mind-boggling to me. Like I thought for sure they were trading the 4th overall, and then they were going to parlay that into like an Alex Tuck replacement.
Yeah. Sometimes these GMs make a great move or make a series of great moves and they win championships. But when the GM is getting praised that much by the media, sometimes they get a little bit drunk. And I think he might have gotten a little bit drunk. Like, remember when Tampa traded like 9 firsts for Tanner Jeannot? Like, you see, like once in a while, these GMs that are known to be great, they get a little bit high. And it's like, I'm waiting for Carolina to do that, though. They really haven't done it yet. They're like the only one. But if you go through it, you can really find a lot of examples of that. And yeah, that was Yarmo thinking like, I'm going to be the smartest in the room here. And I have to agree with you on that one.
And you can say the same for San Jose. They were on a real win streak.
Yep.
And then they just completely, I'm not going to say they undid it. It's not.
They undid it. Yes, Joe.
You think undid it.
They undid it. They literally said, they did what the Rangers did. We're on this trajectory. We've got these amazing young pieces. We are going to grow together.
Trouba
We're going to be awesome. And then they go, hey, you know what? I think it's like almost they looked around and said, I think we're ready. Let's go get these final 2 pieces. Yeah, Trouba, Nurse. Like, what are you doing?
Awful.
It's just like mind blowing. Like, no, you're not there yet.
I need Trouba's agent just in life.
Right.
Like, hook me up with that guy.
But it's just
How
funny.
Does this guy keep getting more and more money? It's incredible.
It is.
I don't know. And I thought San Jose just did the opposite. They crushed it. I mean, they looked at their roster and they said, well, we want to draft best available. But they were like, but if we keep Will Eklund and we draft Stenberg, we're going to be too forward heavy.
Yeah.
So let's parlay Eklund into Veerhoff, and we're set for the next. And then they totally derail it. They were like, no, let's take this train off the tracks.
Why?
Totally bizarre.
I think
Nurse. I could actually kind of see it, just because I think that he is not like a terrible player. I just think he's terribly overpaid. Trouba though, and Nurse, like that's just
they gave assets. It's one thing if they took the Nurse contract, but they actually gave an asset for it.
What'd they give?
Like some
they gave Michael Doolin. I don't think they really valued him that much. It was more about absorbing the whole contract.
Right.
The Trouba contract is just crazy though.
And by the way,
4 years
helping. It's not like they
helping Edmonton out. Yeah,
they helped the team
getting them out of jail
there.
Free. Yeah,
like what are you doing?
It makes no sense.
It's one thing if they helped out. You help out Tampa Bay. You don't care about them. That's the East problem. I don't really give a shit. But what are you helping out a neighbor for? I just didn't. It didn't make any sense to me. Anyway,
what do you guys think of the Islanders' busy offseason? Incredibly busy, incredibly productive, incredibly active.
Okay, Jack, I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay, I'll be honest. If I could have hand selected one free agent to sign, it actually would have been Matias Maccelli. They brought in Matthew Kessel and Chafee. I don't even know his first name. I just know he's like
Chafee.
He's a fringe fourth liner. I honestly, when you look back at like the trade deadline and all of the chaos that ensued, you fire the coach, just felt like a lot of chaos was going on for a few months. And the GM, I was hoping that he would learn from what I thought were mistakes in February. And I think that he's kind of just relaxing right now and like not throwing assets here, throwing money there. And the one player that is impactful he decided to sign, I could really get behind that. And it does look like a GM that's learning. Overall, I get if you're bitter on him though, because the deadline wasn't perfect. He's had opportunities to part ways with a few players on his team this offseason, reportedly, one being Alexander Romanov, who I thought he had trade protection starting this July 1st. I didn't realize it was next July 1st.
It was going to be this July 1st, but basically because he didn't play half the season, he does not qualify based on his age for trade protection to kick in. It's either amount of seasons served or a specific age. Because he only played 15 games, by rule, it transferred to next summer.
Okay, that makes sense because I was positive his trade protection kicked in July 1st. And
he would have had to play 41 games, yeah.
That was honestly that, and maybe not acquiring some players who I thought were affordable were my biggest issues. But the Romanov one by far was the biggest one for me because I just, with Gustafsson now, with Aitchison in the prospect pipeline, George, who I'm high on, Pellick, like it just makes so much sense to not throw $7 million at this player for the next 7 years. So if you can get out of it, get out of it. But now that he has another year to do so, he's trying to get some more value back in a Romanov trade, I think. So he's going to play it out this season. A little bit of a gamble because he has injury problems. His performance wasn't perfect, but we do have a better coach now who could probably get some better results out of him. So kind of like meh on the entire thing. How are you guys feeling?
So, I mean, that's interesting, the whole Romanov thing. I mean, yes, trading him makes a ton of sense at this point. And obviously, even you've got to consider, depending on how your prospects develop and having an eye on, Hamilton and having an eye in Sweden and George, obviously, who hopefully makes the NHL team, having an eye on them, you've got to even consider Pellick, depending on where we are at the trade deadline. And if not, then even at the draft next year, possibly. I think that's just responsible. You've got to listen at least, and you've got to consider it, especially looking at our left side. The Romanov thing, waiting on him makes a lot of sense. Trading him coming off of last season, you're getting 12 cents on the dollar. So we might as well wait, see if he has a good season. Because he was for the 15 games he played, he wasn't good in Patrick Roy's system, and then he got injured. So let's see how he does there. It's interesting. We can get this out of the way, Phil, right? We all agree that the trade deadline was an utter, complete disaster. It was terrible, right? It was to me, it was a Buffalo moment. It was a San Jose moment where it was like, wow, we're in second place. We're better than we think we are. And without really looking at it going, we're doing this with mirrors. Let's really go for it. And then we decided to go for it with some really odd trades that made no sense. So the trade deadline was objectively awful. I don't think there's any way to sugarcoat that. I thought with the trade deadline in the rearview mirror and looking forward, you can't go backwards. We don't have a time machine. I think Darche just has to look at it and go, okay, I fucked up. What do I do now? Well, I'll use a poker reference here as a poker broadcaster. Do I put more chips in after bad chips? I don't want to do that. I can't fix the mistake I already made. So how do I not continue to, begetting mistake and go on with that? I just don't do anything here. And, I'll borrow a phrase from your favorite GM of all time. When you have time, use it. I just don't see any rush here. I think the Islanders looked at it going, okay, my timeline was always going to be a couple of years from now. Yeah, I wanted to be competitive, and it would have been really exciting for us to make the playoffs in the first year and get Schaefer and a couple of our young players some playoff experience. That didn't happen. But let's not completely derail that simply because we found this all-world player in Schaefer and go for it now. We're not there yet. Let's let our prospects marinate. Let's keep our flexibility from a roster perspective and a cap perspective, and we'll strike when the iron's hot in a year or two, when we're actually closer. When we see, hey, is Yzerman there? Is Eklund there? Do these players continue to progress? Is Schaefer suddenly, is he top 3 and going for Norris in a year or two? Those kind of things. And we get some of these contracts off the table, off the mat. So I was really happy. Like Jordan Kyrou to me was like, I didn't think he moved the needle. And I was like, yeah, do we need a top 6 winger? We absolutely do. 100% we need a top 6 winger. These are indisputable facts. Do we need to get him now? No, it's not. A top 6 winger is not going to suddenly fix this team. I mean, unless I'm getting a 23-year-old top 6 winger that I know is part of the solution 4 years from now. So I was actually okay. Yeah,
25. Yeah, same idea.
25.
Right, Marchenko would be ideal. That would be
right.
Nice.
And
sounds like Columbus is holding on to him though.
Yeah.
Right. I just think. I mean, if they let Marchenko go, then Werenski's gone too. So they've got to try to figure something out. So I just think to me, it was a case of, and Phil, I know you love trolling on Twitter, but my God, it's just like, it's just so funny how out of one side of your mouth, you're like, everybody's like, Lou, sleeping. Lou, do something. Come on, Lou, do something. And you're like, hey, man, sometimes doing nothing is the best thing you can do. And then Darche does the same fucking thing. And you're like, oh, sleepy Darche. And I'm like, what?
He's so sleepy.
Come on though. I'm like, Lou literally had summers where he did nothing. And you would point to the deadline and go, yeah, but he makes all his moves during season.
But it's true, though. The summers where he did nothing were typically preceded by deadlines where he did a lot of work, right? Whether it was the Pajot trade or the Palmieri trade. And his trade deadline deals, almost all of them, were great trades. And they
I'm going to defend Phil here. The difference is when Lou's first year, the team was supposed to suck, and they were really good. They made conference finals. At some point, like the GM
divisional
definitely
round, not the conference round, but the divisional round.
They just get he got the benefit of the doubt from me, and I'm sure a lot of other fans. Like when the team is successful, it's like a little bit different. When the team needs improvement, and you're seeing guys sign 1-year deals for $4 million. You have Patrick Kane, you have Line A out there who seem like they're interested in signing here. It's like, come on, let's make the team a little bit better in the short term without hurting us, and that seems possible right now.
And it might still happen, by the way. That still might happen. Those guys are still out there.
You can't do it without subtracting from the roster. So I would say it's, everyone who's like, wow, why are people still harping on the deadline? The deadline is basically what forced him into the situation that he arrived in this summer, right? It left himself with very little flexibility to add. And it also, to a certain degree, took different options off the table, at least to do things like For example, with the Ducks, like we were just talking about, you would pretty easily be able to absorb Vetrano and Killorn and get them to give you a boatload of assets if you didn't trade for Shen and Palat. But you make a good point. You know what? It's in the past. Let's kind of move past it. Let's see what happens moving forward. It just seems as if he decided that he's just going to take the whole summer off, right? So he gets Matias Maccelli, which it's a signing I like. But also keep in mind, this guy's last two coaches have both called him out on effort and have both healthy scratched him for a grand total of like 30 to 35 games combined. And there's no guarantee that this guy's going to work out, right? If DeBoer doesn't like this guy's battle level or his effort and he's not going in the middle of the ice, he's going to be healthy scratched here too, just like he was in Toronto and in Utah. So
right, which is why 1 year times 2
1 year, zero risk, 100%.
There's zero risk. You don't like him, who cares? Bye-bye.
I like it a lot better than Jonathan Drouin. That being said, that being the only thing that you're doing, there has been nothing that has been done to either improve the team now or improve the team for the future. And all he's done is hold a press conference where he touts the fact that he has $40 million in cap space next summer, which is pretty meaningless. Like, as Ilesfix put out, more than half the league has 40 plus million in cap space next year as a function of the cap going up, right? The cap's going up. Also, they only have 13 players under contract next summer. So if you look at 10 players to sign 40 million, all of a sudden that's not as much money as he's making it seem, especially with the looming contract that they do need to give Schaefer. So what's the plan here? And everyone will come at you and say, well, he always said that he didn't plan on being competitive for 2 years. That's just not true. He said from the get-go, I want this team to make the playoffs. If not for injuries last year, I watched the Islanders play very talented. They lost Barzal. They lost Pelech. I know from watching them with the Lightning that they were a playoff team and they had bad injury luck. We're going to make the playoffs this year. And his actions back that because he made signings in the offseason that would lead you to believe that he's trying to be competitive. And he made trades at the deadline, reaffirming the fact that I'm rewarding the team. We're in second place. We're going to make the playoffs and these guys are going to help us. And he failed. So doing what I think is effectively nothing this summer is just, it's pretty inexplicable.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to me, I'm genuinely happy that he did very little. Like I said, I suspect, and I have no idea, but I suspect that he looks back his trade deadline and kicks himself for that. But again, these are in the rearview mirror. There's nothing he can do about it. You don't have a time machine. So you move on, you deal with what can I do today? I don't want to give up ones. I don't want to give up prospects. So what can I do today to make this team better going forward without hampering 3 years from now, 4 years from now type of thing? Yeah, I genuinely like, I'm saying, for me, I'm like, okay, Palmieri comes back, right? So Palmieri comes back. That should easily replace what Lee gave us. You added Maccelli. Hopefully Victor Eklund makes the lineup. We'll see. Who knows? And the biggest thing that he did was get rid of a terrible coach that Lou hired. Okay, by the way, and hired one of the.
Did he hire him though?
Yes, he hired him. Come on, I will not for a second. I'm not an insider, but I will not for a second think that Lou was not running that ship, and he was. And listen. There are extremists. We had the never say die guys who are like, Lou sucks, he's old. I was like, come on, stop. He's a great GM. Is he perfect?
He is old.
No.
I mean, that is true.
He is old. Yes. Objectively, he is old. But I always felt like I feel like it's like I feel like you're like the same like environment that we are in the political world where everybody's either far right or far left. And I'm sitting in the middle going like, is anybody sane here? Because I'm looking around like, what is going on? Like everybody was like, Lou is either terrible or he's the best. And I was like, Lou does some good things and he does some bad things. He hired Barry Trotz, which was brilliant. He then hired Lane Lambert and he hired Pettiwa, which are both awful hires. And that's on Lou. Obviously Patty was here already and that was inherited by Darche, but Darche was like, you know what? We're getting rid of him. I don't want to compete for Pete DeBoer after the season. I'm going to fire him during the season and get him now. And he got Pete DeBoer.
I don't even know that Darche wanted to fire Patrick Waugh. I think he was probably pushed to fire Patrick Waugh at a certain point toward the end. Every single interview that he did, there was one in January and then there was one in February. This guy was glazing Patrick Waugh and talking about the incredible job that he was doing with the kids and how amazing he's been for Schaefer and how amazing he's been for Richie. It's just very, very odd that you would go from saying all those things and then wanting to point the ship in a direction focused on youth and player development and fire a guy who you claim very loudly, because of the work that he's done in the QMJHL, is doing a fantastic job with the kids. So there's something there that just doesn't all add up for me. But again, my original point remains, which is the idea that you're just going to spend an entire summer not being proactive in some way, whether it's, like in the way that Greer had done up until those terrible additions.
I think that adds to the podcast, man. That adds to it. Let it go. Roll with it.
With trading, grabbing Kesselring and using draft capital to, exploit that. Trading Eklund. Not that we had those same moves available to us, but you just have to be doing something. Is the point. And I don't think there's ever an excuse to do absolutely nothing.
Something that makes me nervous with Darche is everything feels very radical. I think he's done a really great job with what he's done with the AHL system and how he's made it a better place for development. He hires good coaches, DeBoer, Thompson. I have faith on that side of things that the prospects will develop a lot better than we've seen. But then on the other hand, Jonathan Drouin, Andre Palat, Carson Soucy, these guys might have played Palat will play another one, but both of those other guys might have played their last games trading for Shen. Riddick, I'm surprised. I would be surprised if he appeared in more than 20 games this year before he retires. It's the signings and the pro scouting have been pretty bad, and the development and the drafting seem to be going pretty well. So it's we need to start. Not everything needs to be so dramatic, and that's what I like about the offseason, that he just got one guy, pay him $2 million. He's 25 years old, but we just need to sort of settle in here. Very much showed that he was a rookie in his first season.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my thought is, and I kind of was arguing this with Lou as well, was I was like, listen, I think Lou's a good GM who makes some mistakes. And you look around the league and most GMs make mistakes. You pointed out the Tampa Bay trade when they traded for Tanner Jeannot, which was just awful. And, the season before that, they traded a boatload of assets for Hagel, and that one worked out.
Yep.
You look at Yarmo in Buffalo, you look at Stevie Yzerman, and I look at Darche and I'm going, has Darche made mistakes? Absolutely. Am I sold on him? No, I don't know yet.
Same.
So far, I look at it going, I'm like, listen, I like the Maccelli signing. So far, it appears I like the draft picks. We'll see if they turn out or not. I do love the direction. I like the fact that it looks like our players are going to develop a little bit more. I like the fact that what he's building in the AHL, and I do think that carries over. I think building that kind of winning atmosphere around the entire organization is really good. So there's a lot of things that Darche has done that I like, and there's a lot of things that Darche has done that I don't like. I don't know yet. I mean, the guy's been here a little bit over a year. He's done some good things and he's done some bad things. At the end of the day, I'm like, okay, let's see. I'll know more. I will say this. I will know more by July of next season. Yeah, next summer, another deadline, another draft. Let's see what he does then, because that'll be really interesting, because next year is the year where I would imagine we make some moves. And by the way, I don't think the Islanders are going to be as bad. I mean, listen, I hope everybody thinks the Islanders are going to be terrible this year. But if we stay healthy, I don't see any reason why they can't be in the same situation they were last year.
Me too.
And they've got better coaching. What did we lose? We lost to Anders Lee? Come on. I love Anders Lee. I love Anders Lee, but Jesus Christ.
There's a couple of things. I think they were getting miracle goaltending from between November and February from Ilya Sorokin.
It's not miracle goaltending.
It was miracle.
What we fucking
no, Dave.
It was outstanding. Riddick too, by the way. Riddick for 8 games straight.
Miracle.
Riddick was miracle.
Riddick, they had an 8-game stretch where Riddick, I think it was 8 games in a row that Riddick had to start in December because Sorokin got injured. And it was miracle goaltending.
That was miracle goaltending.
Nick Foligno had a wide open net at the end of regulation.
Chicago, Nick Foligno. Yeah,
there were so many games. And when we came back from the break and we were down 2-0 and won, and we had a 4-game winning streak, and we gave up 2 goals. We were winning with mirrors. We know that.
Look, I am not I've never been a glass half empty kind of guy, but I would give you the reasoning why they wouldn't necessarily replicate that success is, number one, They were getting miracle goaltending from David Riddick for a decent – that's 10% of the season right there, right? Horvat was scoring with his eyes closed. The injury hurt them a lot. Like missing him for 14 games was devastating. They had, other than Palmieri and Romanov, which I'm not going to say is nothing, they had pretty near perfect health, right? Barzal didn't miss any time. Pelech, for the first time in his career, played 82 games. So they had pretty near perfect health from everyone. And the 10-0 in overtime is just crazy and completely irreplicable. Or maybe it is. Maybe
not with Schaefer and Barzal, baby.
Right. So there are a lot, and again,
I'm not going to pull up.
I'm not going to say Anders Lee's a devastating loss.
Do not pull up Jay Fresh shit, okay? I'm walking out if you're going to pull up this Jay Fresh bullshit, okay?
And I'm not going to say that Anders Lee is a devastating loss because he's not.
I know.
But Anders Lee is a better player than anything that they're going to be replacing Anders Lee with. That's just a fact, right? Maccelli would have to way exceed expectations in order for that not to be true.
Or Eklund.
I think Shen or Eklund, assuming he makes the team. Like we haven't even talked about it, and maybe we could talk about it on the next episode or 2 weeks from now, whatever it is, because I know it's getting late here. But they've got a bit of a log jam right now at forward, and we have to see over the coming weeks as to what they plan on doing about that. Is Engvall making the team? Is Duclair making the team? Are guys like Kyle McLean making the team? We know that so long as Andre Palat doesn't get bought out in the second buyout window, he literally has to make the team because he can't be waived. So there is a lot to go through in figuring out as to whether or not Eklund even has a roster spot. And that's another thing that's kind of interesting where you want to talk about, young players coming up to compete. And at most, you're really only going to have one spot for someone to compete for.
I think there's only one spot.
Because they made the decision to move it. They made the decision not to move anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I think Eklund was the only one that was really in the conversation. I mean, most people agree that Yzerman needs at least a half a season, if not a full season, down in the A. But Yzerman looked great in the development game. It's a development game, so let's not get carried away. But I really like, speaking of prospects, Cole Yzerman, I got to watch him a few games in college. And while he didn't score as much, he played on a far worse team. And I will say that I think Islander fans are going to be really excited about this kid in a couple of years. He is a friggin' dog on the puck with finishing. I think this kid's good. I love him. Like second he makes the Islanders, I'm getting myself an Yzerman jersey. He is a dog with skill. Yeah. And his 200-foot game that he learned under Pandolfo up in BU has improved 100 times. It's remarkable. I think
Oh, by the way, all that is to say,
yeah,
I'm not saying they are guaranteed to be terrible. I would say my expectation going into the season is probably like a 6th, 7th in the Metro finish.
So what are you saying? 80? How many points?
If I had to put a number on it, like 84, 85 would be
good.
And again, remember, this is a season.
What are we betting? I'll take the over. Steak dinner?
Sure. Why not?
Done. I'll take the over.
Come up to Toronto. I'll take you out to dinner.
We'll say 84.5.
Sure. I'll take the under 84.5.
Oh my God.
85.5.
You just said 84, 85. Come on.
I'll take 85 and below. You get 86 and up.
Oh gosh.
There's 4 more points this season. There's 4 more points this season, Dave.
What if
okay, fair enough. Fair.
What if they signed Patrick Kane or Line A? How much you move?
I'm not. That's not.
If they signed Line A, I move the line down to 78.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't.
I agree.
Line A would hurt them. Kane might help a little bit. I'm not enamored with either of those guys at this point.
The problem with Line A, so the one thing that Darche has kind of targeted, and he did point out, he goes, I want guys who compete. I want battlers. And I don't think Line A fits that narrative. I know why Islander fans want him. I know they're like, he could fix the power play and he could do, but I just don't think he's a hockey player. There's a reason why a guy with that much goal scoring skill just bounces from team to team to team. And it's not because he's a good hockey player.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
I also wicked one-timer. That's about it.
When you say like Darche wants like battlers and stuff, like I get it. Like you have to say that for the cameras, but like I just want him focused on getting good players. Like when Cutter Gauthier requested out of Philadelphia, was he known as a battler? You know what I'm saying?
No, I know. Philly was never trading him in division though.
But I'm good on Line A too. I think he's atrocious at even strength. He hasn't played in a little bit. Sure, he can maybe surprise some people this year, but like if I had to pick one, it would be Kane. But him too. I don't even know why the hell he would want to come here, to be honest.
He wouldn't.
I don't think he. I mean, if any, I could actually see Kane go to Buffalo, which is where he's from.
Yeah.
They suddenly need a top 6 winger. And, I could see him finishing his career where he started his youth hockey. But that's for another talk. As for the team, to me, I'm like, yeah, they lost Anders Lee, but 36-year-old. I'm kind of glad we didn't sign him for 3 years times 5. I think Palmieri, if he stays healthy, I think, as you pointed out, Horvat losing him for 14 games, that's a huge loss. As is the case with almost every team, if you don't stay healthy, you're dead. Varlamov as our backup, if he can stay healthy and give us 25 games, that's pretty huge.
We'll see about that.
We'll see, yeah. That's what they're asking from him, but we'll see if he gives it to them.
Romanov, I mean, who knows with Romy? He wasn't very good under Patty's system, but, he's a competitor. He hits hard. He can skate very well. I do think there's still a player there. And if there is, then, that's a huge,
where do you have them finishing? Where do you see them in the Metro?
I mean, again, it's always questioning health, but if we stay healthy, I think this team is battling for the 3rd spot in the Metro, or, I think they're very similar to where they were last year, but with better coaching. And I see them somewhere in that 2-3-1-2 stage. Like I said, I mean, I'm really happy. Like if I was a New York Rangers fan right now, I would be jumping off a building. Talk about a directionless team. It was funny. Phil actually mentioned that Darche is the 32nd ranked GM, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? You got Drury across town."
All right, he's better than Drury.
Maybe 31st. Fine.
Steve Yzerman.
He's better than Yzerman.
Oh yeah, you know what? He is better than Yzerman. That's true.
How about Ken Holland?
No, he's not.
No, I don't mind what Ken Holland's doing this summer.
Ken has been cooking a little bit.
This one summer. Dude, you live in LA. We both live in LA.
Yeah.
The Los Angeles Kings are so delusional.
They were atrocious last year, man.
Yeah, let's make these moves like we think we're a contender. They suck. Let's move on.
You know what? They got Panarin for very cheap, so he gets that.
It's ridiculous how they just lucked into that. Pisses me off.
I actually think it hurts them. I think it actually hurts them because it puts butts in the seats, but I think it just prolongs the agony of what is the eventual rebuild because they're headed that way.
I'm trying to think of another bad GM.
Oh my God,
there are a lot of bad GMs. Pat Verbeek,
Seattle. Whoever is in Seattle, I don't know. I just feel like they're a disaster.
Seattle in general. You don't need to name a general manager there. It's so irrelevant. It's just Seattle.
They were like, "Hey, we can't win. Let's bring in Let's bring in Lambert too. Let's make it even worse."
Oh my God, yeah.
So there's a lot of bad GMs. Darche might end up being the worst GM ever. I have no idea.
No.
But I don't know yet. I just don't know. And at
least we've got a nice arts and crafts project for all the fans to do this.
Dude,
design a new uniform because we're too cheap to pay for a graphic designer.
By the way,
I'm just playing at this point.
We know you are. We know. My kid made like 24 of those yesterday.
I tried making one, and really quick, I was like, "Yeah, this is going to turn out to look just atrocious."
Yeah, not for me.
Not for me.
But that's the kind of stuff it's funny. That's the kind of stuff we never did under Lou, and that kind of stuff is brilliant. It doesn't. I mean, obviously, that's nothing to do with Darche. Obviously,
I love that eye roll by Jack.
It's all right. Like I kind of agree with more of the old school fan here. Like, sure, it's cool that the fans get to make a jersey, but at the same time, aren't you paying? Isn't that someone's profession? And also, just put a good team on the ice.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at.
The two things aren't exclusive. It's not like okay, I'm talking to my wife and I'm like, hey, forget about dinner, just do the laundry. She can do both. Okay?
It's true.
By the way, I just got divorced.
All right, any final thoughts, Dave or Jack?
I have a lot of final thoughts, but I'm going to let you guys go. Rant and rave.
For these third jerseys, I do prefer to be away from the fishermen. This is literally known as one of the worst logos in all of sports. They're on all the lists, and yet the fans just keep going back to them. So that's my one final thought for July 9th.
No fishermen. I like it. What do you think, Phil?
Final thought is that I think, as of recording right now, Darche is done for the day.
I will say, hey, listen, Islander fans, don't jump off. Listen, 12 months ago, we had no idea what we had in Schaefer. So if you had a crystal ball 12 months ago and somebody told you that you have the best defenseman to play in the NHL since Bobby Orr, and he's yours, and your team didn't, your GM didn't do anything catastrophic by trading him or Barzal for JT Miller or something stupid like that. Okay. If there's nothing catastrophic done, don't jump off the building. We're fine. Let's just see how it goes.
Love it.
Until next time,
guys. Hey,
Thanks, guys.
Make sure you give us a follow. Make sure you spread the love. We are on Twitter. What's our Twitter handle again?
Isles OTI.
Isles OTI. Make sure you follow us there. Send us questions there too. We can address them next week or the week after, whenever we meet again.
We'll get a Q&A going.
That's awesome. Yeah, and spread the love, guys. Tell everybody about the podcast. Okay, guys?